In the rest of the lesson today, we're going to be concentrating on the volume. Sorry, I was looking for my keyboard and it moved on me. We're going to be looking at the volume of prisms and pyramids. Notice, the volume of a prism is the area of the base times the height. A pyramid is 1/3 of that. So I could put 3 pyramids together and I would get the same volume of the same prism. One thing we'll take a look at is called Cavaliere's principle. Kind of unique because it's Italian, and I'm going to use an Italian structure to explain it. So if I think of the Leaning Tower of Pisa, the volume doesn't change because it's leaning. The only thing we got to be careful of is we got to measure the height so it's at a 90-degree angle. As long as you measure the height as a 90-degree angle, and notice in this case the height would be on the outside of the shape, the way we're measuring it. In a right prism, the height would be the side. But it's like the difference between a parallelogram and a rectangle. We still do them the same way, except one is pretty easy to see, the other isn't as easy to see. Now if we take a look at example 3, I want to find the volume of this prism. So according to my formula, the volume of the prism is the area of the base times the height. Well, in this case, my base is a pentagon, isn't it? So we have this base down here, which is a pentagon. So I'm just going to find the formula of my pentagon, which is 1/2 AP. On this particular pentagon, I know A. A is 3.4. I can find P really pretty easily because I know the side length. The side length is 5. So I'm going to say the perimeter would be 5. There's 5 sides. 5 times 5 is 25. So the area of my base is 1/2 times 3.4 times 25. When I do that, I get 42.5, don't I? You're just using my calculator. So now to find the area of my base, I take 42.5. Let me change the colors here so it's easier to see where I'm putting it in. So my area of my base is 42.5. The height of my prism is 8, isn't it? So I take 42.5 times 8. If I take 42.5 times 8, I get 340. And we're doing volume, so it'll be cubic millimeters, or 340 cubic millimeters is the volume. Now if I take a look at example 4 here, I just want to find the volume of this prism. And it's the same formula, isn't it? Because prisms use the same formula. It's the area of the base times the height. Whoops, I've got my highlighter on there. Let me redo that. So the volume is the area of the base times the height. So I'm going to do the same thing, except now my base is a prism, isn't it? And not a prism, a trapezoid. My base is a trapezoid. So I'm going to say 1/2 times H times B1 plus B2. So 1/2, and the height of my prism is different than the height of my polygon. So the height of my prism is the distance between my parallel sides, so my height is 5. So 1/2 times 5 times 2 plus 4. So if I take 1/2 times 5 times 2 plus 4, I'll get 15. So the area of the base is 15. H is going to be the height, which is 8. So then we're going to say 15 times 8. 15 times 8, just use our calculator, that's going to be 120. This case, 120 cubic centimeters. Remember, volume is always measured in cubes. On example 6, let's take a look at the volume of the pyramid. Now the volume of the pyramid, excuse me, a little squeak in my voice there, we are just going to do 1/3 times the volume of the prism. So I'm going to say 1/3 times the area of the base times the height. It's a bad B, but it's a capital B for area of the base. So now I'm just going to look at, and notice on this problem, they made it kind of nice for us. They told us the area of the base was 22. We didn't have to do any other calculations. My height is 5. So we take 1/3 times 22 times 5. 1/3 of 22 times 5 is 36.7 cubic centimeters. And there's your answer.